Welcome, everybody, to the WNBA Bank Shop presented by the Fantasy Boutique, dfsboutique.com. Tailor your game like a winner. We're back. All-Star break's over. Time to get into another slate of WNBA games. And it's a big one. So we're going to skip the early game. I'm not playing it with 5 games on the slate later in the main. Don't think you really need to fool around with it too much. I'd much rather attack the main slate. So the main slate is a 5-game slate. It's Phoenix versus Atlanta, Chicago at Connecticut, Indiana at Dallas, New York at Minnesota, and Seattle at LA. So with that being said, we're going to jump into some plays that I really like on the slate today. So starting at guard, we have Zealous from New York. She's 5,600 on FanDuel, 7,600 on DK. Her main stats are 12.3 points per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, and 3.1 assists per game. She definitely has a lot of value in the fact that she can play a little bit of everything. She can play some guard, she can play some forward, which makes her valuable, gets her in the game, keeps her in the game, even when she's not necessarily a starter. So definitely can kind of get away with getting some value for a player that's going to get a lot of minutes. Definitely think she will have a pretty good game and hit value today for you. Moving on, we have Curry from the Phoenix Mercury. I almost said the Stars, but no, she no longer plays for them. She plays for the Phoenix Mercury. She is 3,800, 4,600 on DK. And main stats for her, 10.2 points per game, 4.0 rebounds per game, and 1.6 assists per game. She is coming off the bench now, but she has a ton of skills. Can kind of touch the game in every little aspect, and she is dirt cheap today. In a slate that has every major player playing, which means you have a lot of high dollar players, you're going to need to find some value, and Curry can definitely do that. She's been getting the last 2 games, I think she's right around like 19 points per game for DK, which is probably pretty equivalent for FanDuel. That's definitely worth the value there, and she's going to hit it. If you can get that out of her and then get some big performances out of your big players, you're going to be sitting pretty tonight. So moving on, we have Cappie Pondexter. She's 4,600 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DK. I do not see anything where she will continue to sit. She did play the last game before the All-Star break. She got 10 minutes. I expect with the extended rest of the All-Star break for her to be able to get back into more minutes per game production. Although there are some good guards over her for Chicago, so she might lose a little bit of her normal time, but today she's cheap enough and she's worth it if she's going to get 20 minutes. Her price definitely reflects that. Her key stats are 11.7 points per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, and 5.5 assists per game. If she has a Cappie Pondexter type game where she kind of goes out and scores a ton of points, she's going to be well worth it. So, and that can definitely happen. So, and then moving down, we have Gray from the LA Sparks, 5,600 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DK. 15.8 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, and 4.3 assists per game. She can cover the court, and really, honestly, has been just super consistent, 25 to 24 to 27 points per game, fantasy-wise, and that's more than enough to hit value over there. So definitely look at her as a kind of sneaky play. She might fall under the radar through this big slate. So moving on to forwards, we're going to have Foles from the Minnesota Lynx. She is 7,600 on FanDuel, 11.9 on DK. She just fills the stats sheet over here. 20.1 points per game, 9.8 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists per game, 1.7 blocks per game, and 1.4 steals per game. So she can do everything. And she's been in a little bit of a downward slump. But I think that's just kind of fatigue coming into the All-Star break. So I think the break will give her a chance to rejuvenate and come back out and attack. So look for her to have a pretty big game. She has a matchup against the Liberty, but I still think she can go out there and dominate. You're gonna have Jones up next from Connecticut, 7,000 on FanDuel, 10.7 on DK, 15.8 points per game, 11.1 rebounds per game, 1.2 assists per game, and 1.1 blocks per game. Again, fills up the stat sheet. Constantly out there, they're working. Has a good minutes per game, playing against Chicago, who can be a little weak underneath. Jones, I think, could have a good game for sure. Coming off the All-Star break, played phenomenal the first half of the season. So I'm looking for her to come out and perform really well tonight. So a little bit of value here. We have Stokes from the New York Liberty, 4,200 on FanDuel and 4,200 on DK. 5 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, 1.1 blocks per game. She did get an uptick in minutes the last 2 games before the All-Star break, so look for that to maybe continue because she did get a lot of good run early in the season, and then it kind of fell off. And so I think you might be able to catch her here at a price that she is over qualified for. If she continues to get the minutes that she was getting those last 2 games before All-Star break, her price is going to shoot up, and she will not be 4,200. So definitely look for her if you need some value. I like her, especially on a site like DK, where she's definitely underpriced, but also on FanDuel, where she's at that price where you can fit in another big player if you use her. So last but not least, we have the All-Star MVP, Maya Moore, 7,200 on FanDuel, 10.8 on DK. She fills up stat sheet as well with her 15.6 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, and 1.6 steals per game. She's going to cover the court, and she's going to be a great play for you, especially when her price is a little bit depressed on FanDuel. 7,200 is probably a little too cheap for her over there. 10.8 might be a little bit on the higher side for her on DK, but man, if she can go out and produce the way that she does on a normal basis, I definitely like what she can do. And there's a reason why she was an All-Star MVP, because she is that good. So she can do a little bit of everything, and that's what you look for on these kind of slates, where you're going to have a lot of star power and a lot of people who can do things. Don't worry about necessarily getting up there and getting all the high dollar people. You're going to have to find some value somewhere, and you're going to have to find the right value. And by value, it doesn't necessarily mean the cheapest player. Sometimes it means sacrificing a little bit and taking the 7th, 8th, 9th highest person on the board there. So that's all I got for you today for those 8 picks. And then up in our Slack group, you'll have extended player pools. I put in there some value finder tools, as well as updated per game averages, just tools that you can look at the plays and see what you can do to build your own lines and make yourself a better player. So Slack group is awesome. You get all the sports, not just WNBA. You get golf, baseball. You'll get NBA when it comes back around, NASCAR, NFL when it comes back around. You name it, we got it. $5 a month, 16 cents a day is what that works out to. If you're playing daily fantasy every day, you're doing yourself a disservice by not having that. So go over there, sign up, dfsboutique.com. We have a join, subscribe button. You can join, and then that'll get you into the Slack group, and you'll have all that information, and trust me, it's well worth it. So $5 a month, 16 cents a day. So that's it for us, and good luck, everybody. Have fun on the slates today. It's going to be a little bit of a crazy one with those 5 games, but definitely looking forward to it. I'll be in Slack a little bit here and there early today, but more towards game time. I will be all in there. If you need questions, at me over there, guys. And good luck, and we'll see you over there.